Would it be Cavill or would it be Affleck?
And then here we go right here.
I think it would just be its own thing.
See? Now, a lot of people are wondering about that too, and a lot of fans were like, well, he could bring back Ben Affleck, he could bring back Henry Cavill, and it's like, nah, it'd be its own thing. He was on the Happy, Sad, Confused podcast with Josh Horowitz. And obviously, Josh Horowitz, he asks the great questions. He's a great interviewer and asked the question about, obviously, Zack talking about The Dark Knight Returns. In that article that we got from THR last week that we talked about was him saying that, you know, it would take a lot for him to coax him to come back to DC. He's closed that chapter in his life, regardless of what people say that are behind a certain hashtag. Is the fact that it's like, okay, he would come back to do an authentic, 100% true to the source material adaptation of The Dark Knight Returns, and we all know that he loves that story so much. So here's like some more on that, and kind of just like pitching how he would actually do it, which is pretty cool right here. So give a listen.
I'm curious, like, you know, Dark Knight Returns for me, like many, it was Watchmen and Dark Knight Returns were the two.
That's my white whale, Dark Knight Returns.
White whale.
So that's what I was going to ask. Okay,
that's my holy grail. One day, it's up there.
You obviously, you know, you mine parts of it in a way for BVS, but
I remember
that story remains.
This was like, I think you shot too much of that to make it. And I was like, I haven't, I promise you.
So is that a dream?
See, okay, so that's what's great right there. I think I even said in that video that I did last week was the fact that I'm like, all right, I think we got, you know, I don't need a Dark Knight Returns because we got a good chunk of it in BVS, but I love how he said, like, I promise you I did not. Because, yeah, and then you think about the actual story, and you go, yeah, I guess there is a lot there. He just tapped into the whole, you know, the mech suit and taking on Superman and an older Batman. And, you know, there's still a lot more there when it comes to that actual story. He just kind of scratched the surface just a little bit.
Would it be Cavill and would it be Affleck?
And then here we go right here.
I think it would just be its own thing.
See? And a lot of people are wondering about that too, and a lot of fans were like, well, he could bring back Ben Affleck, he could bring back Henry Cavill, and it's like, nah, he basically was just like, nah, it'd be its own thing. It wouldn't be any kind of association to what he was building already when it came to his Snyderverse.
Really?
Yeah, I think it would be its own thing. I would just do it 100% Watchmen style.
Watchmen style.
You know, really frame accurate. Really, really do it. Amazing. I don't think it would be that expensive, to be honest. It's not like a...
No.
I don't think so. It's kind of it's pretty gritty. But like, you know, there's that dialogue in there. It's just incredible. You know, the VO in that movie is just like, it's Frank at his best, you know? That whole, like, you know, the rain on my chest is a baptism or whatever. That fucking just cool.
I remember back in the day,
So
yeah,
good.
it was like, there was the fan casting, and it was like Clint as like,
Clint
back in the day,
Eastwood.
Clint could have done it. It would have been amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
That's
they wanted
the kind
him.
of guy you need, you know, some crusty.
I think I remember hearing that, like, when it came to them trying to do a live-action Batman, Clint Eastwood was always on, like, the top of the short list when it came to that.
Awesome, you know, it's hard to say who it would be right now, but you know, you'd have to look around.
Yeah.
I don't know that we have like it's obvious. You know?
Yeah, but someone in their 60s or 70s, that kind of.
Yeah, but you want. Yeah, I think probably in their 50s and that they can play their 60s. You know, like early 60s, because I don't know how old he really. I'd have to look again. I think he's like still in his late 50s in the comic book.
Yeah,
Is he?
I thought he was in his 60s.
But still, that's old for
I don't know.
knocking around, fighting. I always love also how big he is in the movie.
Oh my God.
He's huge.
I mean, in the book, because there's that whole bit where he's trying to grab that gun and he can't get his finger in the trigger guard because it's so little. And like that's cool. Or where he's got, you know, there's that shot where he's got Carrie and he's like, you know, and she's just so small in his arms and
Right.
just like, yeah, you just have to find some big fucking guy. It's like, you know,
you just got to find some big fucking guy, you know? And that's the thing. It's like, obviously you could do like your fan castings and everything. And obviously Ben's a big dude. And I think he like fit the mold of at least a live action kind of version of that type of Batman. But I mean, it seems like Zack wants somebody just a little bit bigger than what Ben is. And I'm like, who is that? You're going to have to get a wrestler or some kind of Olympic champion or something like that.
who's huge. It's like, you know who it is? It's
Howie Long.
It's like Howie Long. It's like how you know they're.
I mean, physically, sure.
Yeah,
I'll
no,
give you
I'm
that.
saying, I was just thinking of a picture.
Yeah, I know. I don't. When was the last time Howie Long was in a movie? Was it that firefighter movie that he was in? I know he was in Broken Arrow, which I love. Broken Arrow. That's a great movie.
Picture.
Yes, no,
I don't know that he can play it, but I'm just saying.
Square head kind of.
I
Yeah, I
had-
got. Yeah.
If you had Howie Long and like Robert De Niro, you stuck them together.
Yeah.
So Robert De Niro, you're Batman. Hey, well, yeah, you got to stop this. Yo, Batman. Is he saying like Robert De Niro for Superman? No,
Love it.
just kidding. But yeah, there you go. There's his little pitch right there. That's his pitch right there when it comes to his Dark Knight Returns, or at least, what he's been thinking about when he thinks about doing that movie. And, like I said, I'm like, what I said at the beginning was the fact that I thought we didn't need it, but there is so much there when it comes to that story. And if you want to do a true, because it would have to be its own thing. That's why I understand why he wouldn't use Cavill or Ben Affleck, because it's very much its own thing with the mutants and everything and part of the story. And you got other characters that are in there too, like Selena, Oliver. You got all those people as well that have to be part of that story. And I love the fact that he thinks it wouldn't cost that much. Yeah. And if anything, it would have to be, if you're going to cast these characters, it'd probably be a bunch of unknowns again. But obviously right now, it's not going to happen. I mean, it could happen in another 10 years. Who knows? If they decide to be like, you know what, fuck it. We're going to do live action freaky versions of our most cherished comic books, as opposed to doing try to do this shared universe thing. Maybe the whole, James Gunn's DCU is not going anywhere or whatever the fuck. So they just I always thought that that's the approach that maybe they should take, is hey, why don't they just do live action versions of their best books? I mean, why not just do that? But at the same time, I do like the fact that filmmakers and writers and everybody come in and take from those popular books and create their own stories for live action, just like what Zack did when it came to BVS, and pulling from Superman, the death of Superman, and of course Dark Knight Returns, some Birthright stuff. He pulled from that stuff. So